What's up, family? How's everybody doing? I'm almost super well. Hopefully, everybody's having a great day. Um, and honestly, I wish I had longer intros just for the couple of gentlemen in the house here early on. If you're not coming in here to either support or sit down and learn or walk away with something and do any of that stuff, don't waste my time and yours. Go ahead. You don't have to watch this. You don't like my intros? You don't have to be here. You just want to get what I have to say and what I have to bring to the table. Since no one else out there brings it and says it as I am, everyone out there is just talking about AMC this, AMC that for the last 2.5 years. The only source that was telling you more than once that last July, 3 weeks before that run up happened, I was warning everybody about it. No one else out there was doing so. So you can go back to your grifting channels, enjoy the time you waste there, whether you do intros and whatnot. Then you could come back over here later on to look at one of these things. If you don't like it, leave. I'm not pressing anybody's hands here. Hey, Andrade 5150. What's up, brother? How are you doing? How's my family out there in Cali doing? Let's take out, now that we pulled out some of that negativity out of the way, now we can leave. Dan Rodriguez, much love, brother. I just like, the thing is, Dan, is that like what I'm about to bring on to you guys right here is, it took me a lot of time, weeks. I could easily be either in my business, my restaurant. I could be doing my trading. I could be doing anything else, but having to do literally this for just everybody. But the way I see it is that we're all in this boat together. So the fact that, as soon as I'm about to start my life to bring something that's big for people, as soon as it starts with, is this, like, for example, necessary or whatnot? This is my zone. It's my channel. Of course it's necessary. It's not, fast forward and come back later at a different time, or watch the live later. It's all right. Maybe, who knows, soon I'll make it as just like members only videos for videos like this. Everybody lately is doing exotic intros. Apart from Biggs. Oh, okay. So say the true. So Biggs takes, I guess, lives for like 2 hours where we go on, and I don't want to talk bad about the guy. You're comparing my 30 seconds or 40 seconds of intro to what is such a terrible start to this live, right? Thanks to all these shills in here. But you compare those hours of live where somebody's just screaming at the top of their lungs, we're just fucked. Everybody is fucked. And we all fucked for 2+ years, and that's it. So that's basically everybody is doing. You rather enjoy that than to have a 30-40 second intro. Well, good thing is my channel. Everybody, I much love all of you guys, but I'm super excited. Mr. Goose, there we go, he's in the house. Javi, what's up, brother? Yes, MP JPK, let's effing go. Billy, much love and positive vibes. Yes, my friend. Billy, thanks for the support. Mrs. Chase, how are you doing, my friend? All right, so please, guys, share this and like the video, because I want as many people in the community to actually see this. I've had, there's enough shilling out there where people, and sometimes I can understand, it's not every person who's upset about the state of the play. That does not mean that they are automatic bot chills or whatnot. 2+ years into a play, seeing a portfolio in the red, or perhaps going more in the red, can cause people to do that. And some people, not all, but some people, to go out of their way or to go out of their character. It is what it is, right? At the end of the day, well, much respect, Dan. Thank you. I get where you're from. You're good, brother. You guys are probably wondering, like, look at that in the background. We got Barbie still coming off the best weekend in sales for AMC. But here's the thing, guys. Last July, in the beginning of July, I was calling out to everybody that July, I believe it was 21st, it was that Friday, that something major was going to happen. I was testing out what the shorts and the hedge funds were doing. Um, I was looking at their money. Like, again, I always tell you guys, follow the money. You lose all the drift. All the what people can say this, or people can say that. People lie, men lie, women lie. Money doesn't. If you follow the money, and I've been doing this and putting so much time, you have no idea how much time I've been putting and comparing to why and what is happening here, why they're doing this. And after the first time I saw it, I called it like literally 3 weeks before that last run up, that last Friday in July, when the price hiked up to in that Friday after hours to above about 8, and then came right back down the next week after. I called it 3 weeks in advance. Now, at that moment, I was watching and I was like, these transactions. See, many of you know I'm really heavy into options trading, and that's kind of like my aquarium where I play around and see activity and unusual activity that happens in there. Now I see my second signal. The first one I saw was due for that Friday, and you guys can go back into the archives, look at those lives, and so many of the members in here can actually fact check AB calling out much in advance saying big things are coming back then. Now I see exactly what they're most likely doing here, and I will give you guys a date that they're all tying to all their investments. Now you're probably like wondering, like, what? AB dates? Since when we give out dates? Exactly, never. But I'm pointing out the date that they're tying, the shorts, the hedge funds are tying the big whales that they're tying their money to. And I'm going to show you exactly how they did every run up we have, how they prepare for it, how they don't trip the market, how they keep it on the low. And on top of that, how they make sure that the price doesn't go past certain levels. That way, every run up happens, they profit, and the retail ends up waiting for the next cycle. It's like, oh, okay, we're waiting for the next one. Let's see, right? Thank you, Mrs. Chase. Thank you, appreciate it. Now, again, if you haven't liked the video, please go ahead and like it so that more and more people can show in, because I want to break it down to as many people. Because one thing I've found that is pretty relevant is that I would spend all this time, I will put out all this info, and then here comes somebody that does literally nothing, but they got much of a push out in the views. Some of you guys have mentioned them. And they would go ahead and label their name on it without even knowing what it's not, but they could trust the source that AB is bringing. So therefore, they go ahead and it's like, yeah, look, some such and such told us so, whatever. I want everybody to understand exactly what they were doing to us so you would understand how that market dynamic works. And it's important to understand how they did it. Like this last run up, how they brought it up and how they sent it down, it was completely articulated upon. And they basically do that on each single run up that we had in the past before that. Oh, dog, yes, to the moon. Yes, the Fab Five, where they at? I love my Fabulous Five. Shout out to all the Fabulous Five. Shout out to Pantheon. Shout out to number one son. Shout out to Mike owning the float. That's number one, Mike. And then they've got Mike also number one, but number two in the list, Mike the Marine. Shout out to CSI. Shout out to Donahue George. Shout out to all the real ones out there. Shout out to obviously brother Frankie Muhammad, who keeps it going. I understand many of you hate. Hate is a big word. Have a problem with certain like YouTubers, yes or no, and all that stuff. I'm trying to push all of you guys past that because all that is in the past now. And what we could do is try to move from this point on out to try to correct the mistakes that we might have done in the past. If there was any, we can clear it throughout what's coming. The crazy thing is that we have, if this date checks out, like mark my words, if this date checks out with some ruling that comes out of court, then I can tell you, or you yourself will know 100% that even the system is not just fully rigged as we all know it, but even the court system is programmed on a timing machine that somebody else controls. You would know this if something happens on that date that I will tell you. You will not be surprised. You will all be like, you know what? What are the odds? Because last time it ran up Friday after hours, the judge's notice came out literally right there after hours. The run up happened after hours. It made sure that nobody could exercise options at that moment. Yeah, right. Dan Zarin is in the chat. By the way, guys, the source, like where I could find all this detail, where I went and I looked and I was able to gather all this for many weeks on out. That's stuff that I have to basically keep. I can't put out because of the things that I could put myself for. At the end of the day, I am not a financial advisor. Don't do anything that I give as financial advice. Just look at the patterns and hopefully you learn something to walk out with, and perhaps it upgrades your game. And also you will be able to witness the game in real time and understand what is happening. Not just, reacting to what happened. No, understand when it's happening, why it happened. And the craziest part is AB is here to tell you ahead of time how it could go down. Now, I called it back in this last run-up 3 weeks in advance. And now I'm calling it almost a month in advance, a month and a bit in advance. And now you're all wondering like, what? Look, spill out the beans. Now you're talking about a month. Is it a month from now? Yes. And I'll tell you guys what all that is. Now that we have all that in, look, we got Menace. Hey, prayers to you and your family, brother. Much love. You're the real legend. Each single one of you guys in the family here are the legends. We're all shine amongst our loved ones. You know, you guys are all my loved ones. That's why I'm shining right now. You know, I'm like very, and we all shine amongst each other. So you're going to look at this now. I'm going to teach you this, guys. What these guys did last run-up is literally nothing but this. I was paying attention to it. I called it out 3 weeks in advance, even a little bit over that. But we'll just go with the 3 weeks in advance. And the reason why I'm saying a floor is it's an option strategy that they were playing, and I was paying attention to all their money movements and all the sheer volume of shares that were going into the tapes. And I was able to see, because of course, when you see money like this, those are blocks, those are companies that are pushing big volume. I'm talking about, guys, like without going through all of this, I didn't even finish counting all the numbers and all of that stuff. However, I was able to easily come up with just with the cusp 20 million plus shares on the tape that they are playing with and they're basically working with to basically push or manipulate the price of the stock on the days of. So what is a floor? A floor strategy is basically when an option is like an insurance strategy to your options. And what happens in there, what they do is whoever plays a floor is basically bullish. If you get my hint and my title saying exposing the shorts, the previous title I was going to put, but then I was like, hey, this is freaking financial advice. So I can't put it because it might sound like financial advice. But the previous title was going to say the next pump date. And basically by putting that, it will be easy to be like, oh, look, this guy, like some bad players or entities who mean to do AB harm, they would come and run away with that. But basically, when someone is bullish, let's say you and I, if we're bullish on a stock moving up, when we want, if you remember, I always say in the past months, I was always giving you guys little hints. And now that I see them falling in that trap, showing us their cards, showing me their cards, Now I'm able to bring it out to you and say it in a lot more open manner now. By the way, shorts, if you go ahead and change your game plan and you want to get out of your positions, it's only going to cost you 25 plus mil. So if you want to do that, that's just what I was able to count. You want to do that, go for it. Hey, AB just cost the shorts, our enemies, 25 plus mil. At least what I could count. I know you guys won't be mad at that, right? I'm not mad at that. However, when they're bullish on the stock, the second measure for the floor, that's why they call it the floor, the second measure of insurance would act as basically getting long puts. So these guys are loading up. If you remember a few weeks ago, like over a month ago now, when I was calling the previous pump in the AMC, I was like, they're loading up on really so many puts deep into the money. And they are loading up in the millions. I'm talking about, guys, crazy amounts of premiums, crazy amounts of shares. But what stands out here is that in order for you to have that floor strategy is that you not only are playing puts, they're not only playing puts. What these guys are doing is that they are long on the stock, so they have the shares. See, this is important. They have millions of shares, and they're also backing them up to leverage their position with long puts in case the price was to go lower. Now, you might wonder, well, that seems like, or that sounds like normal stuff where price goes up and the company wants to make sure that it doesn't lose a lot of money if it goes down. So it's just leveraging itself. Well, yes, except the fact that once they're putting on a stock like this in a court, involved with all this drama, a stock that I've been following for over 2.5 years, 3 years almost in September, and watching their option activity, seeing what the companies are doing, the big boys, not just looking at retails, $1,000 or $5,000 or whatever, $20,000 worth of calls or whatever. No, following the big money, the big prints, and seeing exactly what they're doing. It is not usual, it is not normal to see millions of dollars per order. Nobody comes out of nowhere. No company comes out of nowhere, goes on the most risky stock, as they say on the media, that we are a penny stock or we're a shit stock or we're not worth it. We should be worthless. We should be whatever, bankrupt, whatever they say. Nobody, no company can come and take that risk and in fact go and dump millions of dollars. Just to give you guys some perspective into that world, the only places you would more than often see millions of dollars flowing into on the prints, not in dark pools, on the tapes, would be like the SPX, which is the S&P 500. You're talking about a freaking S&P 500 index. So it's not normal when it's going against a stock that is basically at $4 right now as we speak. So it's important for you guys to understand all of this. Now, you're also wondering now, what is that date? AB, spill the beans. That date, ladies and gentlemen, is none other than September 15th. September 15th is going to be an interesting date where millions, over 20 million that I was just able to account for. Once I go on, I will continue to count more and more and look into it even deeper and deeper. But this takes a lot of time, guys. A lot of time, a lot of effort away from everybody, from family, from my business, from everything, from even previous lives. You guys are wondering, in the past week or so, I haven't been doing any morning lives. Well, that's one of the main reasons. It's like looking and seeing exactly when they started doing it. They started doing it about a week and a half ago. And they were all coming in, like I can tell that it was all organized of how they were fitting these on, going on long puts, not calls, because by getting calls, they see that there is millions of retail investors that are looking at stuff like this. And when they see the heavy call prints on the options chain, they'll all stack on there and jump on there. Now, what the crazy part over here is, let me just continue reading this right here, and we'll get into about the whole September 15th and what you could expect in between from now until then. So adding a long put to your open position means that you are obligated to sell your stock at the strike price. Basically, the strike price that they are trying to that they bought these things on, and most of them have been at the $4 strike price. So we'll get into that. So basically, they will be obligated to sell at that strike price if the price was to fall basically down to that point. Now, the long put ensures that you can sell your stock at a defined price. See, here's where the manipulation comes into the play. See, a lot of people probably wanted to hear, oh, the date. Okay, that's it. Adios. Hasta la vista. Thank you, AB. Goodbye. See you guys on the moon on the other side. You got to understand this parts right here. There's a lot of things that go into it, but not that much. I'll break it down, hopefully as convenient as possible to all of you guys. So they get this. That's why it's called the floor strategy. By having all these shares and then opening a long put position, they're able to create a floor where there is, for example, when you add both together, and you will get the break-even price in between, and that's basically where the position will be at zero. Now, what that gives the perpetrators here, or the shorts, or the hedge funds, or the big whales that are playing this strategy, what they get out of this is that if the price was to dump, their puts would print, and guess what? They will add more selling pressure by selling their shares. Now, that's where basically the floor comes into play. Now, if the price was to go high above the strike price, this is where it might confuse people. So let's say they were playing, and I saw that most of them were on the $4 and the $5 strike price. So if they were to play at the 4 and the price was to surge higher than the 4, what that means, and this is what happened that last run up, what that means is they are literally going to wait for the premiums to go worthless, and they'll just go ahead and sell their shares on the open market. Yes, they will lose the premiums, but look how much they made on the other side as well. Now, knowing our shorts and knowing how manipulated the market is, here's what these guys could easily do. Price goes up, sell shares, basically on a little spike, everybody gets riled in thinking that it went up. Oh, FTD, we are on the threshold list. That's how you could get rid of the threshold list, get all those in, sell millions of shares. At least I was able to account for over 20 million. So sell all these shares, dump them on the market right there and then, creating more selling pressure than buying pressure on the market, which means that's what you saw last run up from 8 to 5 in less than 2 days. You saw it, like, this is exactly how it happened. They sell all these shares, and at the same time, they ride all these puts down and make a lot of money. Only then, back then, majority of them were stacked at the $17 put, so far deep into the money. Now it's right around it. It's around anywhere between $4 and $10. But again, the moral of these positions, when you open a floor, that means you are extremely bullish as a whale or as a big entity, as an institution. You are extremely bullish on the stock to move up. You're just buying an extra measure of insurance if there happens to be a parachute or an accident in midair, and then you had to, get off the spaceship. And that's why they do that. Otherwise, if they're just extremely, bearish, they would not be doing that. They will not have the long position. So that's what's interesting about the floor. That's why this is exactly what these perpetrators against us are doing. They're playing the floor long put and long positions style or system, or basically strategy to make money. Now, it does make less money, but for them, they guarantee a profit. This is the sad part here, that these shorts can make sure that the price doesn't surge out of orders to where they get margined, but in the same time, they get to walk out with profits because of their long positions. Now, these shares, whether they're real shares that they were long with, like, let's say this is BlackRock and they got, let's say, 20 or 30 million AMC shares, and they were one of the ones that are doing that. which I wouldn't even be surprised, honestly. It actually could be the very reason of who one of the main perpetrators in this whole thing could be them. But again, this is not me saying for sure. This is just me saying, what if BlackRock has, like, let's say 30 million and they just want to go in a position here with 3 million shares long, and then they open up a long put position on AMC that also at a set strike price, and they see where their break even is. So now if the price surges extremely high, guess what? They only lose the premium on the puts, but that shouldn't matter to them because they made sure that they made the money up here selling in the open market their shares. Now, since these guys are all organizing this, since all these entities happen to all pile up on that date, on September 15th, something big tells me, just like this last run up, I was calling it 3 weeks in advance, saying that date, blah, 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 is going to happen. Like something big is going to happen. They waited until after the market closed and, of course, paired it up with a court decision. So come September 15th, for example, if the market was to get, if the court was to get, oh, look, we got some Spanish speakers in here. Hey, Naya, how are you doing, Naya Walton? Shorts can't sell FTDs. FTDs are sold, not yet purchased. FTDs have to be bought or covered. Of course, my friend. Well, this is exactly, I'm pairing up to you. I think people are not following along, or some people are just jumping in and, throwing in facts or opinions of what they think. However, moving along, at the end of the day, when these guys are basically selling their positions for a profit on by creating this floor strategy in here, you already have your stock in your open position. You will gain the difference from the long stock and the long put. The combination of these two products creates a payoff that is like a long call. So basically, between these two, when you play that strategy, you will have an exposure to a long call, but the profit is going to be different. So since you basically bought the long puts, you would basically have to minus whatever you made on your long positions on your shares, subtract what you lost on that premiums for the floors, and basically in between they make all that profit, or they make that money. The crazy thing here is that they can manipulate the price of the stock when they want, as they want, push it whenever they want, dump it whenever they want. Sad part here is that they're also using it through these puts. Most of them are even more greedy. They will let it rip, but by having all these shares, they will create all that selling pressure to bring these the price of the stock right back down and cash out on both. And again, no one else out there, no one else is looking at this from this perspective besides your boy over here. And no one else is giving you a time and looking at it like the last run up 3 weeks in advance. No one did. Everybody just talks about this and that. And this is not a pun, or this is no pun intended, or not a dig at anybody or any of that. I'm just pointing out to you guys the things that you could see for yourself. So when that time comes and things happen, you remember exactly that, hey, this guy was, even if it doesn't make sense to you right now, like, well, whatever he was saying seems to be making sense, or it seems to be true because he mentioned it a month in advance, or even a little bit before. So what are the components of the floor? As we spoke here, we'll go over it again. It's to have long stock and to open up long puts as well. When and why basically have the floor? You should have a floor if you are bullish on the stock and wish to have extra protection in case the price of the stock goes down. By adding a long put to your long position, you are willing to reduce your profit should the stock price increase to create a floor, which is the lowest profit you can obtain if the price is lower than the strike price. Creating a floor guarantees a minimum stock price for which you close your current position. So basically, guys, think of it like this. Shorts don't want to get margined. Price goes up. If they're all selling, they're all not going to sell at the same exact moment. You see what I'm saying? So like somebody's going to be ahead of somebody, which means somebody's going to get a better price than somebody. Somebody's going to get worse price than somebody. In that equation, if they were to go in without this floor strategy, then majority of them will end up incurring cataclysmic losses. So that's why by having this in place, they are able to make sure that when the net is pulled from the bottom or the carpet is pulled from under, that no one falls underneath and basically break their neck. This is them setting themselves up. I'm telling you guys here in details how they're fixing to make sure that they profit on the way up. And even if they are not the ones that are going out, whichever ones, they will all have this. This is why it's called the floor price in between. They will all have their sell orders at a certain strike price or a certain price and make sure that they don't get obliterated on the options chain / on their short positions. Now, of course, a lot of people want to hear the MOAS. Well, this could very well be it. But one thing I'll tell you, since no one exactly knows what they will do with that, I tell you one thing. No one else knows exactly what I'm telling you right here. No one knows what the hell was September 15th was all about. No one knows basically or following these people's transactions because they're just too busy waiting to react or be the first to report. And that's what is kind of putting the community a little bit behind. You have to remember that if you constantly follow their money, they value that more than anything in the world. They value their money. The people that we're against, guys, the class that we're against, they're the people who vote your favorite. Excuse me. They're the people who vote or elect or donate to your favorite senator or mayor. They're the people who push rules around, unfortunately. They're the people who value their wealth more than their own children and their own families. Maybe that's a bit too stretched too far, but that's just my impression about these people. Because if they don't care about destroying countless millions amounts of lives, I don't think that all for just that wealth, the extra billion or 2 billion or 20 billion, 100 billion. I mean, Elon Musk gained more wealth in just this past year than Warren Buffett had in his entire 92 years. Again, now I'm pretty sure Warren Buffett is not upset. He's still one of the richest people in the world. He's still buying treasuries by the billions on a weekly basis. He just did that this last Monday, and they will do that again. He said this Monday, 10 billion more for his fund. But they take away from us. They siphon away from us that could equal to billions and billions and billions and trillions of dollars when it's collective. $1 from here, $2 from there, 1,000 from here, 2,000 from there. You get the point. Not specific numbers, but you get the point. So when these people do this, this is basically how they can profit and keep it where it needs to be without having to obliterate themselves past it. Now, does anybody else you see report this? I mean, this is not easy information just to bring out to you guys, because you have to track their money trail and track their options trading on the tapes for days and nonstop throughout the whole day, every day. You almost kind of like have to almost have like no life to see it. Almost. To be able to just go ahead and put these things out there, like see these things, record them, tape them, and keep them down. And basically hold on to them so that you can see later when I'm counting, like, okay, this much, this much, this much, this much, this much, this much, this much. Okay, I see. Wow, it's that much. But again, at the end of the day, I know there's so many shills in the live today. I expected it because so many, and most of them are from other rooms or other creators. The reason why is because each single one wants to be or have this dream of having, I want to be the MOAS reporter or televisor or whatever the hell. Make sure you grab this, what AB is saying here, and you can go create content about it. I am not upset. I just want everybody else to exactly see what is happening to them, watch it in real time, see it coming, not see the punch before it comes, and then obviously walk right into it. But basically, September 15th, mark the date. Remember, AB said it here. There is millions and millions and millions of dollars and millions of put options that are basically either going to go ahead and expire worthless. If they do, there's two things that would happen here, guys. One, they basically drop the price, and at that point, each single one that got these, let's say the $4, like one of the ones that I saw had about 20,000 puts, which is once you look at it in premium, you look at about $1.2 million in just premium. This is just one transaction. One transaction. That person at the $4 strike price, that person or that entity is technically saying that, hey, you know what? If the price was to drop below 4, they would be selling all their stock. If the price was to go higher, then they would be good with the floor, which is what happened the last run up. Price surges after hours, 8 plus. That's why you started seeing weird fluctuations. 8, very fast, very brief. Boom. A little bit above 8, of course. Drop down to 5, back up to 6, back up to 7, back down to 6. Like, because all this was happening in the background without being obliterated by the ones that are not supposed to be invited to the party, which is the options players, right? Retail. Now, when the next week opened, people or retail, some enjoyed the profits and cashed out or either exercised, hopefully, depending on if it was out of the money or in the money, because out of the money, there is no exercising to do here. Hopefully you sold and made some money and took the premiums home to your family and perhaps even added more to your position. Again, I can't give you any advice. I'm not an advisor. I'm here reporting on my experience and what I'm seeing. I'm not a freaking, financial advisor or by all means, by any of that. I just want to look out for my family. All of you guys. I want to look out for retail. I don't like seeing injustice. I don't like when people are getting screwed. That look when someone gets screwed and they have to share that news with their loved ones, even if it's not public, but they're just with their loved ones. I know what it means. I've been in positions in my life, guys, where I made some decisions that were terrible. And, you learn from this. You're supposed to learn from this to become the individual you are today or the adult you are today. But I made decisions in the past that, of course, not only I wasn't proud of, but it was all done in the pursuit of bettering my life. Instead, I made it worse, not only for me, for some of my loved ones, my family as well, because they had to endure the consequences of my actions and my decisions. I would never, ever want to wish, I hate to see that on anybody else. I know that feeling. I know that feeling. Trust me, people. I swear to you, all of you. I love all of you, but I know that feeling of when you do this, and now many of you are probably in this move, and it's like you're probably the head of your family or the provider of your family, with father, mother, together, and you're all been stuck in this for years, and you're looking at your children and your loved ones, or even your family members. Some of them are not on the same bandwagon, or not on the same train. They're all making fun, or not necessarily making fun of their real family, but they're all saying, like, you shouldn't have done that. They give you that look, that vibe, that you're a failure, you're a loser. And then when the next time you hear somebody say, buy and hodl, it's like you almost want to grab them by the neck and just start going ham to their face because you don't want to hear that anymore because you got so much going on in the background. I know these kind of feelings, guys. Like I've made decisions in the past where I literally had one of my businesses, and this is a true story of my phone store, which was my first business. Um, I was I was not supposed to partner with someone, but in the moment at that time, I opened it. I wanted to partner with somebody because strategically it meant a lot. It was good. The person had a bunch of other phone stores in the past. So therefore, they knew what they were doing. This was my first business. I was only 20 going on 21. So it was my first business. It was good to have somebody with good intel and experience into that world at my side. Perfect pro. The con that came with that is that that person was a very conniving individual. That person made my life a living hell. And family members in the past were warning me, saying, "Don't do any business with this guy. Don't do it. It's not worth it, even if it means a lot monetarily. It's not worth the headache that it will come with it." I didn't listen. I went through with it. I went ahead and worked hard. I made my store, I made my business. A year and a half down the line, when the business was prominent, he started giving me headaches. He started giving me headaches with it from all angles. Not to dig too deep into all of that, I remember what it cost my family at that time as far as headache, heartache, and time and negativity just to deal with that until I got rid of that situation. I had to put my Detective Sherlock freaking pants on. Then eventually I told him, I was like, listen, in the beginning, and this is something for some of you guys maybe that you don't know, just side business idea tip. For any of you who wants to open up a business, never ever, unless it's, no, there's no unless, never ever go into a business with partnership and it's 50-50. If you do that, you can put yourself in a major headache down the line in the future. Because right now everything is amazing, but down the line it become the worst nightmare. It could be the worst thing ever. So always be the majority owner of your business. I can trust what I will do, my intentions. I'm not going to screw my partner over. I can't trust them. Have that mindset. At the end of the day, that's the world that we live in. So from the beginning, when I opened up that business with that individual, with my ex-partner at the time, he brought on all this experience of having many businesses and everything. And then suddenly he started having, like family problems, wife problems, and all this stuff. And he wanted to come into the business and start taking money from it left and right. And then he was like, no, this is my business, all this crap. Guess what? At the end, when it got pushed to that and started getting more dramatic and more drama, at the end, I told him, listen, he was like, I'm going to push you out of the business. I was like, you can't do that. See, here's where that tip goes in. I had 2/3 of the business to his 1/3. So when it came to it, I told him, if you keep pushing, I'm buying you out and I'm pushing you out of the business, whether you like it or not. If you don't give me any other option, I will take you to court, and the court will probably be way less generous than I am. Anyways, moral of the story is be the majority owner of whatever business you're going to be in. You don't want to ever have the lower hand in something that you're going to give your all to. But again, I don't know how we strayed away to that, but I just had to look, because I remember we were talking about like how it feels for everybody. And I know that feeling. I just don't like to see these bloodsuckers go ahead and get over nonstop on the family. Now that you see this, you're probably thinking like, okay, AB, so what are you suggesting here? Now that you gave us this revelation, September 15th, what do we do with that date, AB? Two things. One, from now until September 15th, what AB is saying here, this is all AB's opinion, not facts necessarily, none of that stuff. The only thing that backs it is he was absolutely the one and only person that was correct about the previous one and called out the previous one 3 weeks in advance to its happening. Now, with that being said, September 15th, this could either, two things could happen. One, the price drops, they cash out on puts, and they create selling pressure with their long positions. But again, what's the point of opening up a floor? here if that's the case. Why be long? You could just open up put positions and do all your damage in the other way. At the end of the day, what they want to do is keep that floor until the decision is completely final, and basically their plan of whatever that conversion and the reverse split either goes through or doesn't. Now, in my humble opinion, I don't think any of this stuff is going to go through very quick. I think that we are going to have more ups and downs, and I think what's going to happen on the 15th is that they could easily let these positions get to their expiry date. If it gets to September 15th, you'd expect the same thing that happened last run up to happen on the close of that Friday, September the 15th. Excuse me. You would be expecting, sorry, I just need water. You would be expecting September the 15th on that Friday after hours for a major move, like similar to the last move. And you will be toppled with basically all these premiums will be worthless, but they will be doing all their dirt in the after hours with that rip. And I don't want any of my family members in here. In fact, if I could reach the entire AMC community, I don't know, you guys could help me. Share the video, like the video, freaking sub if you haven't already, god damn it. Do all that stuff, and eventually you'll be able to see that on that day they're able to do this, and a lot of people will still be holding thinking that exactly it is going to be MOAS after that run up. I don't want people to have those emotional ties where, oh, it's going to run, look, it's moving, act out of place and go crazy and wild. Yes, 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 we're about to pump and it's going to be crazy and it's MOAS. Don't get me wrong. The MOAS could be, every run up could be the MOAS. But if these guys are putting that much money like this, they could be putting it to cover rather than putting it to develop floor strategies. Floor strategy is where you get less profit than a call. It's kind of like making a call without tripping the market. That's ultimately, in a nutshell, it's basically they're playing call options without having to play call options so that they don't trip the market or get everybody to understand what they're doing. In the same time, they get access to almost like, since they're all doing it together, literally, they are almost guaranteeing that they will all walk out with a profit because none of them is going to be left behind holding the bag in that sequence. So from now till September the 15th, we get a move. Perfect. No problem. You guys will see. I won't say nothing about no. It is Pat Smith. It is hot in Ohio. You just remember that there was an ape from Ohio, from the 513 area code, from the Midwest, who called it out for everybody for the second time now. And I'm only doing it not by guessing or whatnot. No, I'm following their money. Nobody puts these amounts of millions on something that does not work that way. My Columbus fam, 614, I see you. Nobody. Folks, how are you? None of these companies put that much money for nothing like that. Yeah, represent Bust Town. Can't get right calls or puts. Oh man, you know I can't give financial advice, my friend. You know, family. I would love to. That's why, I don't know, like, I'm thinking about setting up this members club to show, like, you guys seen some of the community tab posts sometimes that where I would go and put some profits off of, like, plays off the SPY, off of all the kinds of stocks every day. As far as in the options chain, I don't do much stock trading. Honestly, it's boring for me. I'll just be honest. I said it many times. It's but here's what I can say can't get right. Before I say that, the members, like I'm thinking of having that members club so that I can go in there and I know every person that's going to be in there, so that I'm not, like, worried about chills infiltrating the community or any of that stuff or having any of that. And everybody will have access to basically what AB does. Not that he will be advising them, but what I'll be doing throughout the market, or basically making videos that are going to be specifically about stuff like this, or when I see data like this. Like, again, guys, you have no idea how much time this stuff takes. However, can't get right. Here's what I'll tell you. Since I don't advise with calls or puts, what is the floor strategy again? The price they're basically bullish on the price. So they're expecting the price to pump. This is what big money is doing. Maybe you guys can skip all this live and just get to this part right here, okay? Big money is counting on the price of AMC to go up higher. Up higher. Now, how far does it go? That comes down to when they start practicing their, like selling their shares, their long positions to tame the stock, and then eventually get out of their floor strategy. That's what the floor strategy here is, so that they can get out of the profit. So if they completely let it go infinitely, I know some of you are thinking now, like, well, AB, why don't they just, if they want to secure all themselves and they want to make sure they all get out with a profit, why don't they just let the price go and not sell? Well, here's the problem. If they do that, they're hooked on the shorts. This has nothing to do with their shorts. This is how they can tame the play. You guys have questions, and many creators or content creators cannot give you the answer to these questions, and I'm giving it to you right here. The question is, how are they able to tame, besides spoofing the play, besides the orders, besides the dark pools? This is how they're able to tame the plays, especially on cycles where they have to deal with, or they have to give. But in the same time, they take instead of giving. People think that they're taking losses. They trust the media, the same media. Like, we're so ready to make fun of Motley Fool. Exactly. Mamba, 47, 100%. Instead of, while we are there to, when Motley Fool comes out with an article talking about AMC is worth a cent, everybody's so ready to make fun and talk shit about Motley Fool and do all that shit. But guess what? When they come out with an article saying that Goldman Sachs employee or guy puts out a price target of 175 on AMC, everybody starts trusting, or let's say, give me another one actually, even though with the rumors saying that he was actually pulled, or that guy who made that, I don't know, I had some friend, family member who passed the news over to me. Now, I don't know if it's exact 100% news that that's the person who did it, but moving along here, this is not about that. If Motley Fool was to make an article saying that shorts have lost over $5 billion in the month of June, all the apes will be so ready to jump ship again and believe exactly what Motley Fool have said. You think, like, what happened to the saying that says, appear strong when weak and be weak when you're strong, and appear weak when you're strong? That's what they're using on you. That's what they've been using on you. That's the psychology that they're using on you. Those are the methods that they're using on you. How do you know that they're really losing that money? By telling you that they lost, everybody feels happy and thinks hope is near. Yes, C. Maddox. As well, they don't like to take much risk, for sure. The crazy thing is, as I was saying earlier, like, if they let the price go, then they get obliterated on the shorts. We have our MOAS. If they don't play the floor strategy, then somebody or somebodies are going to be left holding major bags, like millions of dollars worth of bags. And that's not something that they can agree on. If they're all a mob, and I know they are, because we remember so many reports where they were all colluding together, even the DOJ, for however much you want to value that, the DOJ's report for. But even them reported that hedge funds back in 2021 were actually colluding together to bring prices of stocks down and to hurt certain companies and target companies at certain prices and certain methods. And we all know about the signals that numerically they send to each other via code on the blockchain, on the stock market. So creating this floor shows to all of them, this is how we all can make our money, right here, right there. And we can make money walking out of this, and we can absorb this little surge. Many people will jump in on the hype, not knowing if this is MOAS or not. Jump in on the options chain, get obliterated, way out of the money. Mr. Righteous, okay. AB, Moran said today that if the convergence goes through, there's so much ape and aid will dilute and no MOAS. Okay, P, Mr. Righteous, how long have you been a sub in AB's channel? Because if you have been a sub in my channel, you would have heard the same exact thing. So I'm not going to disagree with Moran here on this one. Forget the, like, I know many of you are here like, AB, we like, I'm not talking about the character or the individual, all that. I have respect for information. I have respect for truth. That's all I care about. But anyways, be Mr. Righteous. If you've been a sub here in this channel for months on out, since the beginning, if you can go back to when they first brought the proposal before the vote, literally when they first issued the proposal last year, go back to last year, you'll see what AB was saying. I have videos and lives proven with receipts, shorts, loading up. I will say it again. Some of you subs in here might come up. Please come to AB's back here. Support AB. Did AB talk last year about AQR, the short hedge fund? AQR, CEO Cliff Asness, the ass of a guy who was talking shit about AMC, mocking the AMC traders, talking about us. Hey, I'm shorting you. I dare you to come after me. You guys remember that guy last year, last summer? Well, that same guy in that same company loaded the shit out of the boat. Thank you, folks. Loaded the shit out of the boat on AMC shares prior to the issuance of the ape. They piled up over 600,000 AMC shares, a record for that company. They've never went above 140 or 200,000 shares of AMC. And that's a major short company too, that majorly shorts us and hates our guts. They loaded 600,000 AMCs. Do you know why? Well, the answer is simple, guys. They loaded literally a few days before the issuance of APE, the record date. Once they were on the ballot for the record date, that's when AMC tanked back in September of 2022. I remember this shit like it was yesterday. AMC tanked in price value, and then later on, APE was issued to each person who had AMC shares on that record date. So basically, AQR and Cliff Asness wanted over 600,000 plus ape shares that were coming to them for free. Why is it for free? Even at a profit, actually, because they were reported to them, and they sold at an AMC high. When AMC in August ran up to about, I don't remember the price. It was, I can't remember exactly the price, but AMC back in August/September of 2022 was running up prior to the record date or the issuance of ape. They sold after the record date at a profit on their AMC investment, 600,000 plus shares, common shares. And then since they were already there on the record date, they got all their apes for free, their dividend. And guess what they did? That we don't know because they don't reveal the ape data. Don't you think that's odd to all the family? I've mentioned this for over a year. For over a year. We don't know. People think that buy and hold and all this stuff. And this is why I'm so against that conversion, because you're bringing in like people who overly, and I say this with the most love and respect for all my preferred equity lovers and hodlers and all that. I have my own. However, I can enjoy destroying the shorts on this side and on this side. I don't need the stocks to converge in order to do that, because by doing that, I destroy me, we destroy us. This is the way I see it, family. They get what they want on their own terms. They get away with debt. They get away with murder. They literally get away with murder in that case. That's the way I see it. I say this with the most love for all my ape brothers and sisters. I don't know who pushed you to go ahead and just over leverage yourself on that. But again, those individuals know who they are. Some were showing you how to go about doing so. Because just because you want to talk about $2-3 run-ups, $2-3 arbitrage opportunity, a 2 or 3 or whatever, $4, even $10 arbitrage opportunity, you're willing to throw away the MOAS just for the opportunity or the chance to grab a freaking again. But I can't speak on how people want to think about their investments. To each their own. The prices are right again. Do what you got to do. Calibrate what you got to do. You've seen the first hit last time. Don't. One thing I know in life is that you probably might get a strike. You might get two. After the third one, you're out. And that's rare in life. After one strike, most of the times you're out. Mamba 47, big shill energy over here. The reason I bring it up, AB, is because even if the reverse split doesn't happen, the convergence does, then we are still screwed, you know? Do you think it will converge? You can't have one without the other. So I don't know if this is where you bring it, P. Mr. Righteous, from yourself, or if that's exactly what Morant say. I sometimes go and listen to what the gentlemen have to say. Agree with some of the things that he say. Alice, how are you doing, my friend? Nice to have you in here. Have my back. Support AB. um, but whoever it is that gave you that idea, you can't have this without that. It's pretty clear. That's like any AMC investor knows this. Yeah. No problem. If you didn't know, you didn't know. Now you know. Now you know, brother. But yeah, you can't have one without the other. It's there. Even in the fine print, in the 8K filings, it was pretty like self-explanatory almost, fine print saying that, hey, but it's been some time since those 8K filings, so it's easier to forget things or to overlook things with time. So no worries, brother. But I got your back, man. Hopefully that's not what Morant said, though. If that's what he said, tell him. AB says don't say that anymore. You got it, Ms. Chase. Yeah, it's important to remember this. Still waiting for Zerny. Here's what I want you guys to pay attention to. I'm gonna ask you guys this, and I want to see it in the chat, the responses. I wasn't earlier when I was talking and all heated and stuff and emotional. I wasn't looking as much on the chat, so I'll look at it later when it posts. But I want to ask you guys this now. Here comes, let's say September 15th comes, and they do the same exact thing that they did in the last pump, and wait until the after hours, and they release, look what they release. Judge Zern says such and such. We see the same little pump thing happen and whatnot. What would you think? What is the first thought in your head if you see something like that? Now that I gave you this info, what would you think? Would you think that the court was magically releasing a statement on September 15th in the after hours? Or would you think that this was completely put together and planned beautifully together? What do you think? Tell me. Exactly, P. Mr. Righteous. Exactly. 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 It would you would look at it and be like, this is planned. You know, you'd be like, there's no way that they came up with this decision, the court, exactly on a time where, uh, exactly, Mrs. Chase. We would all be like, you know what? There's no way. AB told us like a month in advance. And now you want to tell me that the court came out with that date on that day? Ice cream. Everything is planned for sure, except when it melts. But no, I agree with you every bit, my friend. Seeing the corruption and what's on the line for them and what they stand to lose, I don't put it past anything or anyone for any of that to happen. Do I think that the eighth could be enough of a catalyst? Of course, of course. But they always bank on these things to where they report. You see a run up again. What I'm doing here, guys, is many people will tell you when the MOAS happens, and I totally agree with that. I'm always with that energy. But when I see something groundbreaking like this, I don't know about you. To me, this is groundbreaking. When I saw this stuff, I've been following it for days on days to track it down, to track their money down, see them execute these orders on the tapes that they don't ever execute on AMC, except in rare occasions. And the last time that happened was this last run up, and I called it 3 weeks before. Now this next run up is happening. I guess we'll see by September 15th. Now they could easily on the 8th. They could easily have that action where it goes up, and it could start like kickstart this thing, but then they can maintain it with these positions because again, the expiry on these positions is on the 15th of September. Doesn't mean it has to be played on the 15th of September. But for sure, it can't go further than 15th of September. So what they did last time was that they kept it, and as soon as the expiry happened on that day, they let the premiums, literally, this is what these guys did. They let the premiums go literally freaking worthless to make money in the after hours on that run up. Indeed. Chart follows 120 to 140 as price target for fib levels on this run up. Well, of course it does, but you got to account for one thing. And JPK, you got to account for a complete differential in the float or the price. If you remember, previous all-time high is 74, but after a split, because that's what ape was, it became 44 or 47. 44, I think that's what it was. You guys can check it on there and see it. So yes, that was exactly what it looked like prior to the split. After the split, there's no way you can put a cap on a MOAS. That's the thing. So like when people are looking at putting these like fib levels and all that, that's if you're looking at just fundamentally. You're not accounting for shorts, how many shorts in the background, how many synthetics could be covered. All that stuff can't be covered on a chart. The chart can read run-ups, pre-read a run-up, and this is coming from a technical guy. You know this. All of you guys know in here about me and being in technical analysis and being a day trader. It can give you special indications prior to a run-up, maybe even validate a run-up, but does not necessarily give you the ceiling of a run-up. This is where you family got to watch out. Timing, I always say this, timing the bottom or timing the top is always going to be a loser's strategy. Do not be in that boat. Have your system, collect, don't look back once you're completely out. That's all I can say. I can't give you financial advice. I can't tell you where to get out, where to get in, what ranges, none of that stuff. Can't. I can't. Maybe MP, JPK with all the love can do that. You can take that role. I can't. I can't. You know? But in the same time, knowing that having a price, again, this is what when I made that video about Goldman Sachs and that 175 price target. See, every person reads the same sentence, literally probably the same, but understands it differently. And this is one thing that we got to watch out for as a family in this movement, or as one movement. Some people might default that as, oh yeah, that's the true price. Some people might say that's not even close. Some people would download that as some people would download that as that's FUD. They lost a zero, or they added a zero, or whatever the case may be. But the point here is that everybody understands the same thing differently because of the way that they interpret things. The crazy thing here is, without knowing exactly how many synthetics there are, even those swaps that you're mentioning, MPK, good point. Even all those, nobody has a set amount finger put on it. My point is, how could you value something you don't know the amount of? So if I tell you, hey, I'm going to sell you oranges. Okay. How much per pound? Let's say I even go a step further and I tell you, I'm going to sell you 50 million pounds of oranges. And you're going to be like, okay, well, the next question is going to be how much per pound? Since I'm buying that much, how much per pound? See, the problem here is that we have no variables whatsoever. The only variables we have is the ones that are given to us, which is the float that we currently have, and we have to believe that that's basically true. If you believe that that is true, then you're technically, your MOAS theories are completely, need to be reevaluated and rechecked. You know what I'm saying? So if you believe in synthetics, you can't go along with these variables. If you don't believe in synthetics existence, then you can technically round up something and say, you know what, based on 500 and 50 million shares, based on, and again, if reverse split and converging goes through or not, all these, if you can account for some sort of estimate in the back of your head, and even then, you still have to account for the strategical price point. So for example, that people will sell at. So let's say this thing starts taking off. What is to ensure any of you right here? I would like to see anybody who comes in this live right now to say that this, like everybody will 100% hold past a certain number. In fact, I want to see how many people believe that individual as well. No one knows. Everybody has their game plan. And that's why I say picking out the tops. I'm not refuting what you're saying here. You have to watch volume, how much they are putting in the dark pool. The point is there's so many data points you have to use to start getting profit. I believe minimum 2.5 billion shares. I believe there's that word again, MPK. That's great. That's great. Wonderful. I believe, actually, personally for me, I believe more. Believe it or not. But the word I believe. And I wish nothing. You holding past 120, I wish nothing but love. I could be holding much further than that. You know, it is not about the moment of everybody saying I'm holding past this or this or that. At the end of the day, trying to put a price, that's what I'm arguing here, is the point of putting a price on the play without knowing many variables in the background. Who's hurting? How much shorting? Naked, dressed, people selling price. And even if they sell there, how much more covering needs to happen? Because if you go with Ortex, then I can tell you from right now, then your MOAS target numbers are going to be very low if you're going with Ortex. Warren McCann. I know you misunderstood me. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like there's many things that they're hiding away from us. Imagine if I know today how many synthetics or naked, whatever, shorts or dress shorts are out there. I'll be in the Discord. I would easily be the first one to say, I am not selling until XYZ price. Because now you know a target that they have to get through in order for them to be done. But we don't know. We just know the numbers that are being reported, or we reacting or operating off of the numbers that are on Ortex or any of these numbers that are being reported through Fintel and all that stuff. That's it. I want us to sell 4, 5, 6 figures, whatever. I know that's going to get a rise out of many people in the live. My point here is I'm not saying, well, we're going to get, like, you guys remember those days? You guys remember those days when we used to talk 100K a share and 10K a share? To my credit, I've never said anything like that. But those were the good old days. The good old days. Technically, believe it or not, people, believe it or not, speaking back about those numbers, it actually was not impossible for those numbers to be achieved had there been BS collusion. Here's the reason why. Because for that to happen, somebody's got to pay. We were worth that, because technically think of it like this. Shorts, when they have to cover, when they get margined, they have to close. They have no option. They're forced to close. And since we were all adamant at that time about nothing less than 10K or 50K a share, price could have technically went there. If they let this play out fundamentally the way that it's supposed to play out, because there was no other place for them to have access to shares except through us. Well, of course, until Mr. AA came about and dumped the last of his shares at the time. But in the same time, they would still, after that last run up in June, where they would have access to shares except through us. And if they're margined and they have to close, we dictate the price. So theoretically, yes, we could have gotten the price truly to these levels. Is it for sure going to be not the case? Who knows? It could very well be the case. Could it not? Of course, it could very well be the case. I can't put anybody that comes and gives you a price and says this price, know that that person does not have your best interest in mind. Not saying that anybody who puts a price target is a bad person or whatnot. It's just that they're maybe thinking about their own, plan going into this play or going about this play, and they're just applying it and sharing it with everyone else. So thank you to all of you, because at least that gives everybody else an idea. Like, hey, if I'm trying to price my thing, I'll be interested to see how you price yours, since we hold the same. I have not seen a run up on anything like I experienced on GameStop. I can't imagine who and how the algo is being controlled. Now it's being different. That run up, even then, P Righteous, even there with GME, unfortunately for them also, it was cut short. GME could have ran further. Anybody who thinks that was it, really, it probably just been in the market for a year or two. That's it. I could tell you that. GME was halted as well. GME rightfully could have ran past 400, the 480s and the 460s. Easy. And that's facts, my friends. And I'm not saying it like bad to you or anything. I'm just telling you the truth. Like, even GME as well could have ran further. They had to maintain and control that run. NG Days 0007 or 777s. Hello from Belgium. Thanks for your live. It is very interesting. September 15th is the day. Well, wink, wink back at you, my friend. Hopefully it is, family. And if it is, hopefully it's the MOAS day, not just another basically run up and back down. Who was it? Hold on. I was saying something to one of the family members. Hopefully they didn't leave yet. I hope they haven't. Let me see. Where's the name? Just again, because I was saying something. Ah, can't get right. Can't get right. Are you here still? Tell me, because I'll have something to finish telling you. Look, now I got all these bots sending my phone, like my messages, where say like read listen to this, guys. I'm going to read it on live. Hi, Grace. It's Amy with Indivisible Project supporting vote on issue number 1. Early voting is open through Sunday right now. Like, F is Grace. All right, it looks like Can't Get Right is not in the building. However, I'll say it in case he comes back and look again through this. But when you say calls or puts, remember this. The floor strategy here that I believe this is what these people are playing for this upcoming next month or within this month. They're counting on the stock to go up and eventually bringing it right back down through the heavy selling of the long positions or the shares. If that is to happen that way, then there's your answer. Not your financial advice. AB doesn't give financial advice. But that's your answer right there. Andrea, I can't sell after hours in pre-market. I hope won't be missing the run. Listen, I'll tell you this, Andrea. I don't think like you shouldn't honestly, and you shouldn't worry too much about this. Yes, if you want the best prices or targets, you possibly could have access to it in the after hours or the pre-market. However, it's not like if the price was, I'm going to give you an example. This is to the live for everybody. Example alert, so that the shills don't walk around and saying, start fabricating words into AB's mouth. If the price was at 140 or 150 or 200, okay, let's just say 200, okay? Price is at 200 in the pre-market. There is no way you'll see that price back at $5 when the market opens. You get my thing? So yes, you might have some selling and all that, but if we're at that range of 200, let me break it to you, and this is to the whole family. They don't have as much control when the stock is in that range as they have right here. This is why they can do the floor strategies right here. But if the stock was to be in these crazy ranges, that's when margins are rolled out ready. They would have already been margined a long time ago. So at that point, it's a point of no control. It's a colossal disaster on their end, on their side. The only thing they could do is literally manual automatic shutdown on all phones. Remember what they did in the Capitol where they shut everybody's services? Yeah, I know, I don't want to scare all of you guys. You guys are all like, hey, I was worried about after hours in pre-market, and now this guy's talking about AI shutdown. I'd expect that's at that point, that's the only possible things that they could do is things like that. Perhaps take out the buy button, even though that got old. But stuff like that, even the sell button, they might take. Believe it or not, don't think that's going to be hard, like or wild. Like even the sell button in certain points or times would be out because the brokers will be looking out for themselves as well at that time. Market makers will be like, hey, our job is to provide liquidity throughout the market. That's their sworn oath. I hereby swear, I'm Kenny Griffin, that I will forever continue to provide these markets with liquidity. And this is why I'm becoming the market maker in the crypto realm as well, and opened up that EJX, whatever freaking blockchain market making machine. They also would not have they also would have no access to funds at that point because they're going to be burning all over the place. So if you tie all that back up, one thing you wouldn't have to worry about, Andrea, is they will not be able to just, like the whole missing on the run. The only way people will miss on the MOAS is if they have, this is where I warned, timing the top. If people try to time the top and they time it wrong, the next thing will be catching knife. That's one thing no trader wants to catch is a falling knife. That's what they call it in the trading realm. Catching a falling knife. Catching a falling knife is when a stock squeezes let alone if it's in this magnitude of this play, if it moasses, that's why we call it moas. And if it was to fall, it's not going to fall from whatever cliff it gets to, whatever Mount Everest or height it goes to. It's not going to fall like all other stocks. It's going to fall like crazy with grace too. There goes Grace. We were able to put Grace in a sentence. That's probably where they got that name for it. And even then, look at this. I'm going to even take it to the next level for you, Andrea. Even then, stock is not going to fall to like no $3 or $1 or $5 range, even after the knife falls. So what I mean by a knife fall, as if the price, hypothetically speaking, again, let's say this price is at whatever, 400 or 500. Hypothetical examples here, people. And let's say that was the top example. And it drops. You're talking about from 4 or 500, you're talking about 110. You see what I'm saying? And that's yeah, of course, that will put fear in everybody's heart, but it's not going to put it in a way to the extent that where you kind of mentioned, like, I feel like I'm going to miss out. Don't worry. It's not going to be a falling knife where it falls below the manipulated price of the stock itself. It will come back down, and eventually over time it will be calibrating or stabilizing around its normal stock range that it will be at. So it will depreciate very exotically. It will gain back up. So there's always a couple of dead bounces even after the end of MOS. There's always an extra bounce or two afterwards, because the stock is still volatile. It's trying to dictate where it should land. What is the rightful price of the stock? That's after MOAS or after squeeze, if, of course, there is one. I know you shills out there trying to get AB. Not any of you in here, but the ones that are in the background. Excuse me. Dante Fuego, they are still utilizing bogus total return swaps using smart contracts, of course. YB Normal, hello, Mr. Normal. AB, stay away from the canoes and creeks for a while, brother. These dogs getting desperate. Guys, I'll tell you this. I'm a very sane man. I have a family that I take care of and support. I had to leave my med school when I was 18 to come out and work because my father had to fall ill and had to get a heart transplant. He couldn't work no more and support the family. So I had to raise my 5 other siblings. I'm like their father for them. And of course, make sure that, my mother and my pops don't have to worry about, like having to deal with that pressure. So I'm used to taking on a lot of weight, a lot of pressure in life. Nothing was ever handed to AB easily. I had to earn not just every bit of it. I even had to go further than what probably most would. And I'm not knocking anybody's struggle out of the way, out of anyone, but I have a lot to live for, and people that love me and I love, and I've done a lot to try to magically float over a creek or somewhere. God rest the souls of the individuals that did have to go through something like that. It's if something like that was to ever happen, know that it was not an AB's doing. It was against him. And you know what? I'm going to let you guys in on one thing before I even speak about the market. If you guys have any questions about the September 15th thing, you guys can bring it up and talk about it. I'll be more than happy to break more about it, because I think there was so much when I was seeing that stuff, guys. When I called it the last run up in advance, this is the same setup, the same exact setup, millions and millions of dollars, all stagnated on that date. And if all of you shorts out there are watching this or eventually watch this, and you want to change your plan, good luck. You just AB just lost you millions of freaking dollars. I'm happy about that. However, before I speak about the market and what happened after hours today with Apple and all that stuff as well, just so you could know what to expect. Whatever questions you have, just have them stacked up real quick, because I will. But I will also go another further a little bit, so you guys get to know who AB really is even more. I think you guys know me more than my best friends right now. We are best friends. We're shit. We're family now. You know all the ins and outs. Um, the reason why I really hate injustice, people, the really, really true reason why I really like what triggers me the most about seeing injustice happen is when I was a kid. Many of you know that AB is an American of Middle Eastern descent. And trust me, probably I got the most love in my heart for the world. Everybody knows I always say I'm a humanitarian before a citizen. I don't follow any agendas or anything. I think love for humans, uh, for each other, is doesn't need a flag, or it doesn't need a religion, or it doesn't need common sense. I think it's just a given. But when I was a kid, the reason why injustice is big for me as a topic, when the whole occasion, it's not an occasion. I see. I'm having like second thoughts about even bringing this up or talking about this. But um, when I was a kid, going like it was middle school, the 9/11 situation happened. And I was obviously, again, as an American kid, but of an Arab Middle Eastern descent. Instantly at that time, I was looked at as the problem. If any of you have lived back in those moments or days, those days, remember the horror that happened, to the Twin Towers and the many, brave brothers and sisters who lost their lives there. And not just them, but even the people who worked, like firemen and police officers, people that the world can never replace. But as a kid at the time, I had to, on a daily basis, deal with hate crime from such an early age, and no principal or teacher was doing anything about it. They were letting it go. In fact, I was punished for retaliation on any kids at the time, and I had to deal with it on a daily basis. I would go to school, I would be ganged up on. AB is not a little guy. I was always a bigger guy. I was like, eating good. And I would be getting jumped on a daily basis, like 4, 5, 6 different people, kids my age. Some are a little older. And, I always had this thing where I would always take somebody with me so that it will, like, I'm never the one by myself, taking this. And then when I go home, I'm like all swollen, bruised up, and stuff like that. And then my mom would go to school, speak to principals and all that, and they would all literally tell my mom, it would be great if he was just to stay at home these days. We can't do nothing. A lot have happened in the country. A lot of people are angry and riled up. And that's basically the answer that my mom had to take. That was the solution, that I just had to take it. The reason why I always say I hate injustice is because why do I have to pay a crime price? That's a crime. Why do I have to pay for somebody else's crimes without with me having nothing to do with anything? And every literally day, my mom would say, "Don't go to school, stay at home." I would purposefully go to school because I refuse to back the fuck down from anything that I haven't done. And I was actually there and because, and here's where the part, again, you learn through life. Each single person that did any of these, like this jumping occasions and all this stuff, I never forgot them. I always remembered them, and I followed them when they were by themselves. Okay, 5 of you on one. AB's not no Jackie Chan. I'm not those Arnold Schwarzenegger. Not gonna be beating the whole world up easily by myself or whatnot. I think that's theatrical. However, maybe people can. I just can't. And I know me. I know that I have the heart to take any person out there on my own if they mean to do me harm, or if they mean to do anybody that I love harm. So therefore, when they did what they did, I remembered each single one of them. Whenever they were by themselves, I tracked them down, put a really bad hurting on them. And again, I wasn't proud of that. That was my way of not, as a kid, from a kid, understanding how to not be the world's doormat. But in the same time, I learned that reacting to hate with more hate only results in double equal loss, a loss there and a loss here. And I lost something that I didn't get back then, which is a normal childhood. I didn't have to go through that shit on a daily basis for over a year and a half. I didn't. So I don't know. I just had to, share that with the family, with everybody. Again, you guys know AB more now. It was crazy times. I don't want to get more into detail about it, of like what ended up continuing to happen, like teachers who were purposefully trying to fail me and all that. And then some beautiful stories were actually forged out of those times as well, unfortunately. But um, yeah, there was a beautiful teacher. God bless his soul. He was, he was. Oh my God, this guy was trying to fail me at all costs. At all costs. He had an American flag in every inch of the classroom. He was the definition of he was the definition of patriotic, and he literally just was like, that's it. He just thought I was, I guess his inner hate came out, and he was just trying to fail me at all costs. And it took until after summer, until I helped him move his class. No other kid was actually volunteering to do it. He didn't even expect, he even was against it. And then I just kept pushing for it. And I was like, I just need you to know, man, like, I'm not like anybody who hurts somebody out there just because of what they are and what they look like. That doesn't mean they speak for everybody else. Yes, I'm an American. Yes, I'm more than proud that I'm of Middle Eastern descent and I'm Arab. I speak the language. I made sure I learned the language and I speak it. I'm bilingual. But guess what? Before those two I just mentioned, I'm a freaking human. I love all my people from all over the world. Each single one of you. I always guys say this to people. I always say this. If we were to get invaded by aliens, and now it's a hot topic lately, a lot of alien talk, especially that now that you have like the whole Biden's son, situation, but now we have all of a sudden aliens and all that stuff. But anyways, if we were to get invaded by them, especially like the bad ones, like the ones from War, what was that? The Tom Cruise alien one. I don't know, the ones that really pick you up and just suck you dry and then just throw your body away. Not the cute ET ones, no, but the really bad ones. Who the hell is gonna? Who do we have at that point? We have nobody but each other. That's how I see the world in general. Like I would run to my human fellow brother or sister before I would run to a tentacleized whatever form they're in, if they're out there. Truth is out there. First. God bless you too, Alice. Thank you. JPK, how long do you think it'll take? I'm thinking 1 to 2 days to see peak. Oh no. I mean, who knows, right? But with the amount of things that has to be taken care of in PK, it's going to take a lot longer time, in my humble opinion. A lot longer, like way longer than even, perhaps even in longer than weeks to take care of. Perhaps take care of a load, get it out, relax, take another load. The fact that if it's all done in 2 days, that means, for me, the way I see it, MPK, and this might excite a lot of family members here, like, yes, we want that case. If all this craziness was to all be done in 2-3 days and resolved, All of it, not no like June run up back in June of 2021. That was no run up, or even January of 2021 when they took the buy button out. If they were to deal with everything that's corrupt within this play, um, that means you're talking about we would have 2 days where the price will just suddenly wake up one day, boom, or after hours one day, it's like at some sort of ridiculous price, whatever, 4 or 5, who knows, figures, and we're all trying to get out at the same time, and like that's just the way I see it. Um, I mean, who knows, right? Who knows? At the end of the day, um, I think personally, I think that it's going to take a while. It's going to take a long time to go through and to be finished with. I think everybody who holds through. I see. This brings up a very good point. Right now, I love this how we're talking about this right here, like this. Nobody brought up the point about the actual issue that we have in the game right now, or in the family right now, amongst the ranks. We have so many people who are just fighting about the no and the yes, and the no and the yes. And of course, I will always scream it from the top of my lungs saying no, no, and I'll always be a no. However, we have a lot of people who, because not that because they hate AMC, I understand people, just because they have not, they over leveraged themselves in, for example, preferred equity or ape, or even sold out of AMC. Naturally, now they want that thing, or this reverse split and the conversion, to go through before anything happens, because they want to be in there. They don't want to be missing out. Naturally, that's what they want, but that's indirectly turning them into somewhat of, what's the best word to use here, but that's indirectly turning them into becoming natural shills toward the AMC community, because now it's either the AMC community that wants this to happen, or if you're just in AMC, then you're the old crew, you're the OGs, you're old, we don't want you anymore, get out of here, you know? And I understand we'll open up topics back and forth that will never end, as far as, oh, fundamentals, all this and all that. Made my case in the past. Go look in the past videos. Look at the Short Theses is a Myth by AB. It's a long time ago. Look at all this older stuff. I don't know. I would, oh, you. I need water. Yakov Brita, what's up, my friend? Let's see. What do we have in here? Sam, you can read minds. It depends on the situation. Super, not so. So, Billy 87, much love, brother. Much love. I'm 88, so I'm literally a year after. Brothers. I love the picture. We got such a beautiful flag. All my love to everybody in this whole planet. At the end of the day, honestly, if I was to have the brightest idea in the world, which will be the worst idea for many people, is to take away all the freaking flags and just have one common, like, if we want civilization or human race, the human race, to perhaps excel and go to Mars and all that stuff that Elon is talking about and all this stuff, we would be much easier. It would be much easier to do so all together than to try to be collecting or making or developing classes amongst each other. Because if you think about it, the reason why we as a movement, why retail, why the lower class, why is there something called lower class, middle class, and upper class, while the middle class is being completely evaporated little by little? It's because of that very same thinking, that there is a difference between us. You're from here, or I'm from there, you're from there, and you speak this, I speak this, and all that stuff. Like, I'm a person of faith. I'm not going to push my faith down people's throats, but I'll tell you this. I know that all major religions do not have a barricade on who is the ideal or who can be this religion. It's not particularly just pushed out to a certain group or certain people or a certain race. Everybody. God has sent his messengers to all his creation, all his people, all his kids. He didn't send them only to a certain few. If aliens come, I would prefer them more like the ones from Dude, Where's Your Car? I make a good point here. Nelly Mission, sorry you have to go through such hard times. I got bullied by this one mean girl in junior high in the 80s. I was called a foreigner and pushed me around. Now I can't tolerate disrespect. Oh, I have much love. By the way, you have a very nice smile. Oh, thank you, Nelly. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. That humbles me and brings tears to the heart. So you guys don't want to see them coming down the stream. At the end of the day, those things I don't wear. And Nelly, since you went through similar things, you would probably verify this. It didn't for me. I don't carry that stuff as like dead weight or on me. No, I carry that stuff as a lesson that I've learned from an early age, a really early age, what the world can be. Our parents and the society tries in schools and everything to teach us a certain agenda. We have a completely different agenda now. My time is completely different than these days today. But even throughout those times, it didn't fit what was happening with me at that time, what the agenda they were pushing on to us and what they're trying to raise us to be or to teach us. That was something that I had to learn on my own. And at an early age, I could have been, think of it like this, I could have been a troubled kid as I grew up. I could have been a troubled adult afterwards, just solve hate with hate. But I was always this person that would sit back. And of course, I'm no perfect. Of course, I told you, I point out my flaw. I went back and retaliated on each single one that did what they did to me. When they were jumping me together, because I saw it as it was, weak and cowardly. That you don't need to. One, you're putting your frustrations about something on the wrong person, not the person who did it. That's one. Two, you're also doing it in a group on somebody who can't even defend himself against multiples of people. So, of course, that's the word. It toughens you up. Two, it teaches you, if you choose to open yourself up to it, it teaches you how to see exactly or read energies and feel the vibes and read rooms really well, even the street smarts. Read it pretty good and then know how to not get yourself in situations. And if it comes towards you, you know one thing. Hey, I got stripes, my friends. I went through this before and I know what I did. Don't try me. Don't try me, boo-boo. I'm always trying to make fun of the situation so I can make it light. I don't want it to be a sad stream. So circling back, we have from now until September 15th. What could happen? Two things. One, these guys could start selling their shares and hammer the price based on whatever news that comes out in their earnings. I doubt that we would see something like this because, again, we just beat a record in our 100+ year of existence in this movie theater week of sales. And we have many more movies coming in. Yes, and I know a lot of people will say this and that, but no, we have many things coming in. I would like to think that this whole bankruptcy crap is coming in at a much earlier time than it needs to be even worried about. The enemies always, their job is to try to get you to fold, to make you feel like you lost the war already. So submit, and we might be merciful on you. We might let you escape with your life. But if you truly fight on, you never know. You actually They're the ones who are bluffing, and they're the ones who are exposed. And in fact, they're the ones who needs the mercy at that point. And that's the way I personally see it. I don't trust that side. I don't trust them. I don't trust any of them. Nothing good comes from their side. And in the same time, if we did, since we did do the record sales on a week, and then we were expecting this earnings to be either be in the profit or slightly miss. Couple all that up, family, together, gobble it up, and put it all together. Um, it's hard unless Adam Aaron comes out, and I'm almost certain he probably would say all this stuff, give you the present, wrap it up, and once you open it, we still need money because we could get bankrupt. That's what the present that you get on side, all that beautiful wrapping and all that stuff. And with that being said, he could easily based on that, out of all the good news, the stock could either stagnate or be volatile, where it goes up whatever 550, 6, 7, probably drop down. These movements that these guys have bought on September 15th, I know one thing, and that's one thing you got to keep in the back of your head. They can do this or exercise from now until September 15th. Something will happen to the AMC stock because all these millions are not going to go in vain. I'm just telling you, I warned as exactly the same style, in the same manner, 3 weeks before the last run up happened. And here I am doing the same thing. Now, if they wait until September 15th, then look out for after hours, as soon as the options expire worthless, watch a weird spike out of nowhere. If nothing happens from now until the 15th. I don't think it gets any better than this. Like it took a while, guys, it took time to find this stuff. It took time to get to this info, to track this info, to have the energy and the want, to even go through all that. Overlooking all my other stuff and being away from all the stuff that I could be also doing instead. But instead, I caught in to the tail of those tapes. I did it last time, and then here I am doing it again. Let's see if time will tell what will exactly be the case, or what will happen. Let's see. Where do we have any questions? Let's talk quickly about the market. As people, if they have any questions, you can type it in. If you want any explanation or more in depth, anything that I've said or anything different, please go ahead. Any other stock, go for it. This is the time. I will look at the chat as I'm talking now, but we had today throughout the close, last time I checked before this live, Apple was being bad, and Apple was really bad, down 2%. Amazon, I think, was doing good. Let me see. Amazon, whoa, up 10% at 141. Wow, look at that. Amazon is moving toward a all-time high if it can. Now, the drop of Apple should have technically dragged the SPY down along with it. In fact, if Apple was a hit, Amazon was a hit like this, the SPY would have probably went up like 2-3%, and that's high in one session, because they, especially Apple, puts a lot of weight on the SPY. It's the biggest company in the world. However, Amazon came to the rescue, at least for now, for the SPY. For some of my SPY lovers, like I am, I'm going to give you guys some levels here to watch for. One, this is quick readings. I know I've been missing some lives because I've been busy with this stuff, guys. That's why I haven't been, we haven't been doing any day trading and lives and stuff like that. So 450 is an important level to keep for the SPY, especially for bulls, people who are expecting it to go up. By the way, the SPY will make a new all-time high. I know many people are thinking that Ooh, good question. NJD 777. Actually, yes, I'll report on that. Just 1 second. So if like 450 is important. I still do think that the SPY will make an all-time high. There's waves, and so far we're not out in a, like, I know yesterday looked like a downtrend, but it really isn't. We fell out of some key supports, but we're not away. We're doing some sort of reversal. So unless we go down to 446 and break below 446, we are not in a full swing correction in the S&P 500 or the SPY. In fact, if you see, we had where was it? Right here, back, and we have 447. We touched it. We barely touched 447 and like 48 cents or 40 cents. And we bounced off of that. It didn't go down to really close that gap down in the 446 range. That's where that gap is. Then after that, we got all the way down to 442. If we were to break 446 to the downside and not consolidate and bounce right back up with momentum, then obviously there will be more selling into the market. I don't see that honestly being the case. I could see us perhaps closing that 446 gap and then gapping right back up. Of course, not in one day or in one trading session, but it is still the case. You guys remember many months ago, called for the SPY to be running toward making new all-time high and a new 52-week high. Well, we already got one thing correct, a new 52-week high. When in that same time, everybody else out there, including specialists on Wall Street, were saying that the SPY or the S&P 500 will not go up in value. In fact, it's more fear. And now that it's up here making new 52-week high at that 460, that's when all these gurus started popping up now and saying, yeah, we're going to make an all-time high and all this stuff. And it's like, okay, welcome to the party. NJD 777, GME will run with AMC question mark. Now, I looked on the options chain and tracked with GME. It's interesting. There is, okay, this is why I say this is a good question. There wasn't as much concentration as much as it was on AMC. In fact, it wasn't even close. And this is not a knock on GME. I have a position in GME. Here's what I mean by this. This more so gets me to lean toward the idea that this next pump will probably not be the MOS. I don't want to be the guy, the party pooper and all this stuff, but I'm just speaking my mind here because I would be expecting that there will be a lot of heavy, crazy action on GME as much as it is as also on AMC because they have similar algorithms and the memes. Now, from now until at least mid to end of this month, I will continue to read. Again, every day I'm trailing, I'm reading, I'm going through it, and anything that comes up, I'm going to be reporting on it to the family, and you guys will see. But as far as what they see for GME, GME is a lot easier to read here. Excuse me. Because GME is saying, technically, like their actions are showing that there's not much like consolidation on like major actions. There's just a few calls and a few puts, but more bullish than more calls than puts. So basically, they see a price surge in the stock, just not to the extent of what I've seen in AMC. I'm talking about millions of positions, guys, and like millions in premiums that are just stacked up, not on the dark pool, on the tape. So you would be expecting a run up. This last run that happened, GME ran up a couple of percent. I can tell you this, that they have a lot of consolidation around the $25 strike price. I'm not giving you advice here saying buy $25 call price or strike price on GME, but there is a lot of consistency on that strike price. So it's worth looking at and seeing for verifying for later. You remember, I didn't make a big fuss about the previous one. I was just calling it out 3 weeks in advance. But I wanted to verify if this exactly was indeed what they were doing, if I was correct, or if I was indeed on to big something big with what I was doing, or what I was reading and what I was researching. And when it checked out, this is why now I know exactly what I'm looking for. This is exactly why now I'm trailing that the way that I am. So, yeah, whatever for the family. All, one for all for one. Love all of you. Hopefully, this mutual. The feeling is mutual. Let's see. Hopefully, that answered the question. 777. How is? Let's see. How is SPCE was doing? SPCE was a nice one. Um, Again, guys, the reason why it's good, like to see the SPY. Well, you're welcome, my friend. Thanks for the question. The reason why I think that it's good to see what the SPY is happening with it and the overall market. See, it's creating fear in a lot of people who don't trade the market regularly. They all get worried about the, oh look, it's jumping, it dropped down big, and that's it. It's the beginning of the end and all that stuff. And here's the thing. Here's where people need to correct their trading career. It's one, block out the emotions. Think, look at key strategic support and resistance levels. Look at supply zones where supply and demand have happened, and see for breaks through these zones. And then eventually through that, you'll be able to see, have a much better or clearer image on the decisions that you see happening or next future formations to happen. Prices can always be, it's easy to say that the stock could go down or it could go up. Well, no shit. That's the only two options anyways. But where does it go down to? Where does it go up? When does it go down? And when does it go up? That requires a lot of reading into things and being double, triple, and quadruple check your data and look for things that you might not see. There's a lot of hidden gems in every chart, because what a chart is nothing but money movement. You're reacting to that chart. If you're going long, you're not just going to go long because you think this is good, because you, whatever. I like BMWs. Doesn't mean that's not good enough for me to go invest in BMWs. It's a very important part. But seeing if you want to be a successful trader, day trader, that's a different even topic. But to be a successful trader, you definitely have to be able to like the stock that you're going into, know, do your DD on it, see the company as far as what is it like on the inside, how is it selling. Do you see a lot of people driving? I mean, it's easy to invest in Tesla with now that you see the dominance that it has on the streets right now. I mean, even Tesla right now, because of the tight credit situations and everything, they are actually lending. They're becoming their own car dealership. They're the maker and the dealer now. They're providing people with, like, I think, what was it, like 83 or 86 month leases, or sorry, financing options. That's way longer than 72 months. Damn, Elon is trying to keep you for life. He's trying to keep you longer than he ever kept his wife. That was a low blow. Sorry, guys. But yeah, it's crazy because they want more, they have more demand, but the prices are high because of the way the economy is. They're in a very strategical spot. They have billions of dollars of free cash on the side. They could definitely do what they need to do. He's got his, Project X slash SpaceX doing its thing that could actually be more profitable than Tesla and anything that he even thinks of, depending on how much it grows. But either way, you see their dominance. You can feel it. You can see it. You can visit. You can think about it. How many people are looking at other stocks like Workhorse, for example? Workhorse, in just this past month, it ran up about 50% under everybody's radar. In 1 month, Putting $1,000 in there, that's $500. Putting 10K in there, that's $5,000. Now, of course, that has a lot of fear that comes in, uncertainty that comes with it, because that same company has just issued a letter to all its shareholders to approve. Guess what? Does this sound familiar? I'll tell you what. They're sending a letter for all their shareholders to approve an expansion of the share float of the company. Every company, you guys wonder why we are perfect targets, why we were always selected to be the people that like, why are they doing this to us? Why does it feel like whatever stock you're in, they always, like, you're getting screwed on? You feel like, keyword here, you feel like you're getting screwed on. Well, odds are every stock that you're in is also something you heard about from another retailer, which means it has a lot of retail concentration, which means this is like every retail stock that has any retail concentration has all these issues with it. Look what they did to BBIG. I mean, you think crime? Like literally overnight, boom, OTC, that's it, done. They got this little pump in the stock. They squeezed it, at least for much of it. They basically opened up this small window of opportunity for certain investors to get their money out and get out at a profit. Instantly sent it to the over the counter. Straight up. They got their notice from here 2 days later, boom, or 24 hours later, boom. Out. Adios. These things don't happen to Amazon. And I know now we have the fundamentalists jumping in. Hey, AB, that's why we talk about fundamentals. And that's why this, Amazon, nobody's comparing BBIG to Amazon or even AMC to Amazon. But what we're doing here is that the market makers and the corruption of the market and all the entities who means to do everybody harm here selectively select retail heavy stocks, because if you think about it, here's one of the things that I think. We have no, like, it's kind of like we have no retaliation except crying about it on social media or sending a letter to our Congress, our governor, who probably doesn't even read it. Their secretary just looks at it and sends you back, thank you for your support, we appreciate this and all that. Because the game is labeled by what? By money. It's all about the fucking money. That's what it's all about. So if all retail, hypothetically speaking, were to come up and create a retail hedge fund. By the way, it's a dream of mine. I think that it's interesting. But it's a hedge fund of retail that literally is made of retail investors with a board that's selectively selected by retail, the majority shareholders. And imagine if we can go ahead and send donations and supports to certain officials that are running for governance in certain states, or perhaps running for elections and some high seats, higher up seats, mentioned, but higher up seats. Imagine the kind of sway that at least our retail investors that are a part of that hedge fund would pull. Imagine the kind of sway, because right now these citadels, these subsquanas, these virtues, these renaissance from Jim Simmons, all these like Elon, and he's not even a hedge fund, but Elon Musk, Warren Buffett's, all these people, nobody dares to cross these people. Nobody, no market tries to, even if it's, let's say that we know who it is that the bad people in the market are. Let's say they're XYZ. XYZ can't go get one off on somebody like Elon or somebody like Warren Buffett, like they're doing to us. Of course, in the past it had happened, but how did it happen? So the Breakfast Club, that's what I call them. The Breakfast Club chose to sacrifice one, and they came after him, and that's how they were able to get one down. One of these big uh, lambs sacrificed one of them. However, for us, we're not even seen. You know, anybody can come and get over on us. The only question they will have to answer to is, did you get our cut? Literally, if we were a big juicy steak, the way they see it as, well, we can't just leave this steak, we gotta eat it. And even if they didn't want to buy it, we just gotta have it. And they come and take us, and then if they had to answer to anything, to any authorities, the answer is gonna be, the question is gonna be from the authorities, where's our cut? So you steal and you reward us by the form of penalties. Who benefits? Taxpayers lose money, retail loses money. Nobody speaks for us except this shenanigans where they bring like the Robin Hood BS when they brought him, Vlad, to Congress to berate him and all that stuff. What do you think that did for us? What do you think that did for taxpayers? What do you think that did to people who held positions when they took the buy button out of the way? Okay, they berated him on live TV. Oh, poor Vlad. His character must have heard it. He still does not sleep since that night. Poor guy. What about the countless millions of people who lost on millions of dollars? And who knows, some of them, what they also went into as far as how their life got destroyed because of that. And they think that by putting on that show and that charade of, shame on you, Vlad. You have any answers? Are you going to get this fixed? Like, I don't get that. That doesn't recover the losses that they financially have caused. What Congress could have easily done then was literally saying, you know what, your brokerage slash platform owes every penny. And this is where they call, what's that, the beautiful word that we used once on one of my videos. I said, this is the word that we're going to get them with. On top of my head. Some of you family members can probably remember it. It was a while ago. I made a video and I said, this is what we could get them with. I can't remember the word, but it's a legal term. And that legal term says that when they get sued for every profit they have made from a certain point to a certain point, and you basically got to fork that back. D something, I don't know what it was. Somebody could put it in the chat probably, but D something. They are liable for putting back everything they made off of some sort of fraud they committed. And that's what Congress could have done then. Said, you cost this much amount of people this is where you did. The most legal thing to do here, or rightful thing to do, is to at least have a mediator or a mediation effect where you compensate for this. You can't have these actions with with no consequences, or the consequence can be nothing. Imagine if I go and rob a bank. What is my consequence? Serve time in jail, freaking probation, my life is officially over. Even if I ever get out, I will have to check in every 2 hours with a probation officer, whatever, all that. That's what it sounds right as far as if I commit that kind of crime. However, does it make sense if I rob a bank and I get out and then I get away? I pay off a couple of cops, a couple of sheriffs, they're all good. And then they say, you know what? It's a public affair now. We got to do something about this. Don't worry, we're not going to arrest you. We're not going to put you in prison. But what we will do is we're going to basically have you make the walk of shame. in public. We're gonna make you stand. How many people watch Game of Thrones here? Where they make what's her name walk? Shame, shame, shame. They didn't even do that. The fricker, the son of a mushroom was sitting down, and I don't even know how that came about. But he was sitting down in a chair, and he just kept like, yeah, okay, sure, sorry, yeah, I'm sorry. We're doing our best to fix this. Yeah, all right. When can I get to my Bahamas plane? Yeah, I have a plane going to the Bahamas. I gotta get there. Yeah, it's literally what we saw. Hey, Gorilla Grodd is in the house. What's up, brother? Yeah, see? Gorilla Grodd is laughing at the son of a mushroom. I swear, I don't know how that came about. I've never said this before. You guys know how to. You guys seem to get the family seems to know how to get the best out of AB. If it was the same as the market, you would just have to pay 10% of what you stole, right? Give me a dap, Sam. Casey Hogg, oh, you missed not a whole lot, but feel free to enjoy the stream later or afterwards. Put it at whatever speed, and go through it. Hopefully you will like it. Let's see. Any questions in here? Let me see if there's any more questions before I dip out. It is 7:20. It almost feels like 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning, honestly. I do need water. My voice is getting ready to go away. I'm gonna continue, guys. I know I've just came here to you with a lot of things and threw it all on you. It's not so common of AB to be like this, but for those of you who know AB, you know what I have to bring, what I bring when I come to the table. You guys know the kind of person that I am. At the end of the day, I act as not, again, as a financial advisor. I operate on behalf of no one. For me, reacting for the family. I just basically couldn't bear to see things and call them out. Called out the last one literally weeks in advance, and I couldn't see the next one before it. I know the euphoria that happens when something like that happens. People say, oh, this is it, and all that stuff. I wanted to give you guys all the angles from all actions, or all angles. So all details from all angles, so that you can walk into the ring without, expecting to go into a fight, but not account for any punches that you just don't see coming. You feel me? I want you to be able to see each and every punch that is coming, know your opponent well, know what they're doing behind the ground, what kind of stuff they're doing in the background, to see how they're trying to prep this turkey up. Again, my window, you heard it here first, perhaps the only, or who knows, maybe many other places now will count on it, or will start making stuff on it, or degrading it, devaluing it. Guess what? At the end of the day, time will tell. That's the true element of everything. As far the best fact checker is time. You guys all remember. Hopefully you guys liked the video. Hopefully, if you haven't, please like it. If you haven't please subscribe, so you can always get the notifications when this thing goes live. I want more and more and more of the family to get access to more things, and if they have any questions, they'll be able to reach someone like AB. Believe it or not, guys, I've been doing this for 2 years, and I literally still get on a daily basis questions, or people who come tell me, who are you? Where did you come from? I'm like, what? For 2 years, and on a daily basis, I still get, where did you come from? A lot of people don't know ABs out there. A lot of people don't. A lot of people have already bought or into, or that's it, carried in, and it's understandable, or got comfortable in a place or in a setting. So therefore, That's it. They're just used to that. But it's important to remember when it's your money and your life's investment is on the line that you don't just look at, and we'll never say look at AB and only AB. So you need to know whatever has any kind of information out there, you want your hands on that. You want access to every bit of information out there. Doesn't matter what it is. You get to decipher if it's good info or not good info, but you need to hear it first or know it first. So therefore, expose yourself to as many people as you can. Um, AB, let's see, Alice, no more paying a fine and not admit guilty or walk. You are great, AB. Well, thank you, Alice. Again, you humble me with your kind words. Thank you so much. Pabloco, it's crazy how companies having good earnings but still being destroyed. It's like a free for all. Of course, Pablo. That's why the money movement is where it's all at. Earnings is kind of like it's like the show. There's the fight and there's the show. The show is the promoting, how they promote the fight. But what really happens in the fight has nothing to do with the promotion. It's completely different. They could come to the ring and they both will be like, "Oh, I will do this to you, and I'm gonna do all that," and then 1, 2, 3, and all that stuff, 3-piece combos and all that stuff. But then in the ring, it's a complete different story. Same thing with trading. I think that the money movement, you'll be able to see it on the charts. The charts give you a much better understanding or image than what you will hear in an earnings call, because at least for the near future, because if you're trading and you're like you're playing, let's say, some options or something, if you're buying long on a stock, there'll be two different narratives of how you go about that. You can go into Tesla and you'll be like, okay, I'm betting on the long run. No one can argue with you at that point. Buy stocks. Excuse me. However, if I'm going to play options and they're obviously going to expire at some point, then I'm going to need to understand what Tesla will be doing. The fundamentals of the earnings will rarely play any major role because, like I said, look at Tesla. It had great earnings. What happened? Fell. They can come up with any reason, any shallow or stupid reason to convince you that it was the reason why it fell. Like they'll say Tesla had a lawsuit or Tesla had this little minuscule whatever narrative or something like that. And then they will expect you to understand that that is when it did record sales and deliveries of vehicles and all that stuff, that even throughout all that, that lawsuit is the reason why it's such a huge deal and it's got to drop. It really isn't, because truly they report the news to justify the price action as much as they can. Most of the times they don't even have a good reason. It's just laughable, quite laughable. Like Tesla's one. Netflix's was also a good earning. It wasn't bad earning in my humble opinion. And guess what? It tanked like more than anything. I called Tesla and I called Netflix. Now, I didn't call them, but I called the plays literally right before the aftermarket, before their earnings happened. They both had great earnings, but they both dumped, as I was predicting, 30 minutes before the lock of the market or the end of the market before they reported their earnings. So it's crazy, right? I appreciate you even more, Mr. McCowan. Thank you for your service, sir. Broke Ape, AB, is there an indicator to tell you supply and demand zones? There probably is out there. Honestly, I don't look at much of those. I look at my own supply and demand zones through seeing heavy buy and sell ranges and basically seeing where there's confluence in the buying. So whenever you see major rallies like sell-offs, good question, Broke Ape. Major sell-offs, I'm going to teach you how to manually do it yourself. I don't rely heavily on indicators. The new school does all that. I'm a bit old school because I like to formulate things on my own. So when it clicks here and the bulb blinks here, it feels better. At the end of the day, you want to look at major rallies where, like Iran to the upside heavily or is sold off heavily on the downside, and you want to see between those ranges, you want to see a reoccurrence of that behavior in certain ranges, and then at that point, that's where you'll see where your demand and your supply zones are. The most recent, of course, you don't want to go back 10 years ago and then look at that because the markets was different then. Hopefully that answered the question. Maybe on one of the lives here in the near future, when I have some time, honestly, I'll be able to do it on the live and example as well. Hey, Clipper Mike, owning the float. What's up, retail family? Much love and respect coming at you from. Wait for it. How are you doing, brother? Thanks for blessing the live and stepping through. Appreciate you big time. As always, Alice, Gorilla Grot, sorry, I read that one. How do you think Congress will deal with the fallout? If you're non-financial advice, I know they love to make big show of these kinds of events, i.e. bring the Bulgarian boy and Kenny G to say sorry. Well, if they bring them to our place of choosing, wrapped with a tomato in the mouth, we'll take care of the rest. This is not me making any threats on anybody's lives. AB is making jokes here. Also, did you see Yellen trying to raise another $103 billion in T-bills? Yeah, why not? She did it by, something's going to happen to that Fitch guy, credit rating agency. Last time that happened in 2011, the S&P rating agency had resigned. Days later. Andrea Kiss, you have a big heart. Thank you what you do for this community. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. This is exactly what I do it for. It means the world to me to hear stuff like this. Thank you so much, Andrea. I appreciate your support and all your kind words and great gestures. Hey, Mr. Vartakulaticus. That's the closest I also ever said that without fully butchering it. Number one son, world champion of... I'll leave the rest for you. I'm not going to take your line, brother. Don't forget to like the video. I appreciate it. You humble me. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you for showing up. You keep up the great work and the great words that you keep spreading to the community. I enjoy your morning debriefing. I watch every single one of them, or whatever that's worth. So thank you so much for stopping through and continue doing what you're doing, sir. I love all the angles that you come up with and you bring through. We got Mr. McCohen, Fertaculacus. What's up, brother? I'm gonna stop saying that. Bullish Moa soon, of course. And who's look at that. The great Pantheon is in the house as well. Good afternoon to you, sir. From me and from the entire AB family. Pantheon, you know how much of a great deal of respect and love I have for you, my dear good old friend. I need more Pantheon, so I don't know what you got to do. I know you got a busy schedule, and I got to apologize to Mrs. Pantheon for basically having to force you to make more content, but it's that addictive. Great content. Anybody in here that knows Pantheon and the great Pantheon Radio, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, you need to go and check it out and obviously sub to it. Not that he needs this shout out, but he knows the love, and I constantly thank him for all the love that he shows and the support. He's one of my best of family and friends in this movement, and I definitely trust no one else more than my great friend Pantheon here. So much love, Pantheon. Nice to see you in here, brother. I jumped out of the live. Carrie Bink, I jumped out the live. So are you saying it's a chance to run before September? There's always a chance, Carrie. Yes. I don't want anybody to count on the ideology or the idea that we're, that is just set in stone for that. Remember, guys, I this whole live was to show you guys, or to tell you guys, to reveal you guys what exactly I have seen them do with their money. You know, words are probably worth nothing today in today's world. Even though I come from a place and a time and a mindset and an upbringing to where your word is your freaking bond in this world. If you don't have a word and you don't honor your word, you are, let me just put it frankly, you're not as manly as you think you are. That's just the place I come from, the way I was brought up. So we live in a time where that has almost no value. It's got completely diluted. So what do I do? Since we can't trust the thieves and what they're saying, you know, motley fools and all of them, this side, if you get to a point where you're confused, you don't know who to trust anymore. Do I trust this person or this person? Or can I trust the CEO or can I trust the CFO? Or can I trust this YouTuber or that YouTuber? Probably can't trust none. You probably shouldn't trust any. You should just download as many info from all sides as much as possible. And then after that, make your best educated decision off of it. How do you also do that? There's another indicator that always checks out, especially in a time like this, since there's a lot of cowardly people moving in this world amongst all of us, and especially the elites, the so-called elites. These people love their wealth, as I began this stream with. These people love their wealth more than anything else out there. So, if you track where they take their money, you would have a very good chance, or it could operate as a good indicator on to seeing exactly what they're trying to do with it. Let's see. Alice, much love, baby. I have to leave for now. Rest your voice. I will. I can't wait to have some tea, eat something. I actually didn't eat all day, honestly, guys, because all morning, like I was tying this stuff down for this whole past week. But once I saw the full prints completely carry on and get more validation, that's when I came through with it. But today was the day where I just could not, you know, I could not keep it in. I had to bring it out, and I had to bring it out with emotion, as you can see. Luna, if he's still holding BBIG, well, if he is, then I don't know. Like that would be a thing that where you have to deal with, you know, the OTC now. But there it is. Never held it. Yep. There's the answer for that. So again, guys, having the floor strategy, I will wrap things up with this, hoping that if the great Pantheon can do a great show for us tonight or something, if he's planning on doing one, that would be great. Be great to let me know here, so I'll plan accordingly. However, the floor options strategy, as you guys can read here once again, I put this as much as I could together right here like that for you. It's basically an options insurance strategy where you simultaneously have a long open position on a stock and a long put for the same underlying asset. And adding a long put to your open position means that you are obligated to sell your stock at the strike price. Obviously, if the price was to go down. The long put ensures that you can sell your stock at a defined price. This is where it goes in good faith. This is where it happens very good for them. This is where they're happy. The shorts, that is, and the terrible people or the forces that means to do us harm. This is where they all benefit, that they could pick a floor, since they all get similar like strike prices and pick prices, and they interact with each other. This is why this plan right here, this strategy works perfectly for these people. You will gain the difference from the long stock and long put. So basically, you'll gain from the difference between the two because once this goes up, this goes down. However, the exposure to this defeats the exposure to this because you minimize the exposure to this as this goes up and you benefit here. But again, if this was to go up, or if the price was to plummet, then this goes up in value, which is these puts. And then the underlying asset, you can sell at a certain price that they have as defined as the floor. And eventually that would limit your exposure to this side and maximizes your exposure to this side. Either way, they are going to come out on top with this or come out winners with that, making profits without risking any other possibility of happening. Here's the crazy part. Are they worried about the risk? Do AB think they're worried about the risk? I don't think so, because what they're doing, since they're all doing it together and they're doing this plan right here, if they were to just do, by the way, again, the floor, by doing this, that means they're overly bullish on the stock. So they expect the stock price to go up. But if they were all just to load up on calls and still have a lot of shares or the underlying asset of AMC, then whoever starts selling, somebody else is not going to be as fortunate, or somebody's else's are not going to be as fortunate as everybody or the ones in the front, or whoever started first. Which means many of them are going to end up being holding major catastrophic bags, which means if any of them gets massive losses, that could trigger easily margin calls amongst, and then that would, all this that they're doing right here would all be for nothing. They would be, in fact, blowing the, or lighting the fuse of the very fireworks that will blow up their whole house. Again, we got to remember, they're trying to, they know that they're sitting on a big minefield. They do not, that they purposely put there. It's not like we're coming out of nowhere to pick on these guys. They did this. It's been long way overdue. However, this is the path we had to take because this is the path they put us through. So we either had two choices. We back out, we walk away, we back out of the fight, we give up, or we continue through the fight until we see this thing go through. To me, it doesn't matter what are the odds. I have to see things come through because I cannot have, I can't start something and just walk back on it and then end up with the what if and what at. You never ever want to have regrets in life. Go through with what you want to do. Go through with it. Live with the consequence. That's what I always say. Live with the consequence of your decisions. Doesn't matter. As long as you think about the consequence of your decisions, live with them afterwards and see what ensues, and keep the door open for anything to happen as a learning experience. Worst case scenario, it's a learning experience. Best case scenario, you get filthy freaking wealthy and freaking rich. It's a win-win situation. That's what they're trying to do, is they're trying to make some money on this run up. However, they do not want to tear down their own house. So they couldn't just load up on calls because somebody will be left behind. They're not all going to fill at the same time, at the same price. So they could destroy themselves if any of them is left behind. So they're taking the Marines route. No man left behind. Unfortunately, right? I have to link the Marines with these, a-holes. However, thank you, Pantheon. I appreciate it, brother. Well, men like Pantheon, I'm trying to, you're always giving out all the great advices, so I'm trying to be like you, my friend. I'm looking up to my great idols. And you're definitely one of them, brother. So so they're trying to make sure that no one is left behind. So it couldn't be just calls. Now, if they wanted to tear the price down of the stock, then if the price was to go down, they all just load up on puts. Guess what? Some are not going to be able to fill as well on the bottom like everyone else. Whoever starts first makes the money, and then if the price obviously doesn't go down, because if the price goes down, guess what also goes down? the value of their stock. So if they're betting on the puts, the price goes down, and they have stock, millions of AMC stocks, that goes down in value. Guess what that leverages? That opens them up to a margin call, because the value of your position in this stock just dropped dramatically. Again, this is the beautiful part about why being in this range. I know a lot of people hate the fact, trust me, I do too, seeing the price, it was in the 60s, 70s, 50s, 40s, blah, 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 and now seeing it in the 4s and the 5s and the 3s. But the best part about this right here is that there's not much wiggle room for them to try to wiggle themselves in and out of things. So that's why they got to go through these cycles of floor option strategy cycles, where they can definitely prime something up to happen at a certain point or a certain situation, with an anticipation of something like what we're having right now with the court decision, looming reverse split talk, and danger and fear and happiness, all that, however way you see it, settlements, and play amongst play within the fields, just dance in the waters. That's what they're doing, by also making some profits, and that way they get to maintain the stock. And more so, their aim is to deliver a psychological hit directly at you, because every time this thing runs, and it's not the run, it's not the MOAS, as we all like to refer to it as, for almost 3 years now for some of us, you're gonna incur some sort of psychological breakdown where you say, hey, is this thing gonna ever happen? Really? And now you couple that up with a couple of shills from here, from the left, and some naysayers from the right, and some theorists from here or there, and you got yourself a perfect storm for doubting your decision or doubting the play. I don't have any weakness here. I don't never ever forget what I'm in this for. In fact, you guys have no idea how I went about going forward with this play to actually continue to add more, because when it came personal for me in January of 2021, it literally became personal. It was like, at least even GME had to run at 400. We didn't even get to run. And the second time around, it was halted short, and you can put all the reasons you want, sales of stock or whatever, halts and all this crap. But still, the fact of the matter here is that we didn't get to run. So it became personal. It's like, I'm going to keep loading and loading and loading. When time comes, they have to answer to a lot, and they're going to hurt a lot more than I will. Because I already know in the back of my head, and this is my personal opinion, not to influence anyone else. However, for me, reverse split / whatever, convergence goes through, price will still continue to go up, because buying pressure will happen. To close these shorts, they need to do some buying to close these. I'm not gonna argue with anybody on the amounts that are out there. No one knows. So therefore, any buying pressure brings price action to move up. I'm good there, not as much as I would love to, not the way that I would love it to end. But if no reverse split / whatever conversion happens, I believe that personally, that's where we will have the much coveted for MOAS, if the right storm conditions are to happen and to evolve. At that point, we are the only ones that stand in our way. They're going to be victims. They're going to get margined. When they get margined, they have to cover. They have to come through us. They got no shares from anywhere else but through us. We dictate the price. So at that point, the psychological games have just, if we get to that point, have just gotten flipped back onto you, shorts. It flipped right back onto you now. It's redirected. Instead of you tricking me, now I'm tricking you into what the game is, or let's play a game of the price is right. And I know at that point, that's the last game any market maker / short would love to play. But it's inevitable, in my humble opinion. That's the way I see it. I'm just another ape within the family, within the community. There's far many more smarter, greater people, as my great friend Pantheon here says. Um, and again, we learn from. I learn when I listen to you. Well, I'm humbled by hearing that. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate the great gesture. Um, but that's what makes us strong is our unity and is our strength is in our numbers, because someone is going to know something that you're not very good at, or you necessarily didn't see it. And odds are there's always somebody who's smarter than you out there, no matter who you are. And this is just note to self, to myself. um, I can't wait for this to work out, people. I hope that it works out. I hope that this, what I seen or figured out by the 15th of this September, ends up being not only true, but I hope that it ends up being the moment of all moments. Um, I hope you guys are not let down ever again. It means a lot to me when I see anybody. Again, I hate injustice. I hate to see anybody, uh, having to get ruined on something that they're so right on, but they get cheated out of it. And that's where it becomes more and more personal for me. So I don't know, people. I think I lost my voice. I think that's proof enough that I care. So I think I'm not going to do a live for another few days at least. I need a lot of tea. I definitely need food. I need I need a lot of stuff right now. Um, I want to thank everybody from the bottom of my heart for showing up. Sorry for everyone who doesn't like AB's intros or outros. They're not as exciting and exotic as Pantheon's. So maybe I can get one of his. I apologize for wasting anybody's time. If I offended any of you out there indirectly, because I know it's never directly, I am sorry. I apologize on my behalf. There is anything that anybody would love to point out to me as far as anything, whether I offended anybody or any information I need to know or something I should know or hear, anything, AB is always open. DM me anywhere, put it in the comments section of this live, or find me out on Twitter. It's AB Investment something. I don't tweet as much, honestly, so therefore, if you don't find me, it's okay. I can't find me myself. I just hope this madness is over with, and then we can carry on with other stuff afterwards. I can't wait for other opportunities to open. I can't wait for more people to see. Recently, I've opened up to all of you guys about this day trading opportunities and the ways to day trade and the ways to scalp and all that stuff. That was something that AB 1 point, like 6.0 version, if it was an iOS, I hate iPhones. Anyways, did not have you guys, accustomed to, because it was always only AMC, 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 AMC. But I want everybody to be constantly be very or as much educated throughout the market rather than just what is happening, like breaking news, what's happening to us in AMC. And most importantly, for some individuals, there was one brother, I don't know truly if it's a shill or not, but came and said that, AB, you're like everybody. There's many people out there who, if you're hearing this is for you. There's many out there that are just making videos and putting AMC in the title, but the video has nothing to do with AMC. Well, I'm not going to put the name over there, but you know who you are. If you think AB is like that and you add me to that list, I'm sorry you feel that way. However, maybe this stream would speak louder than whatever you might have cultivated. I'm just giving you the benefit of the doubt here, brother. So as far as for everyone else, again, I think I said all I need to say, more than what I need to say. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments section of the live after it posts. I love each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for your support. As always, much love, AV Investments.